Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun. Okay, we're live. Zane just brought up something interesting. Hold on, Jamie's got something.
Oh my goodness, Jamie.
Good? All right, we're good. Professional podcast here.
We're back.
Zane just brought up something interesting, and it is that he has committed. I made him sign a contract.
It's verbal. You know, we made it happen.
You will play the winner of Honcho's Austin League. Again, honchopickle.com to register. You will play the winners 2-on-1 for,
let's say, $100.
but they don't have to. Their entry is that they won the league. You put $100 up.
Well, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
I just got
That's
talked
what it has
down
to
from
be.
a bet that they should be allowed to put whatever they can put some money on it if they want. I'll bet up to $100, but I want to be able to win something on this.
Yeah. All right. So they can wager whatever.
So if you win Honcho Pickleball Austin, if you're the head honchos in Austin,
Yep.
how does it work? Are there two winners? Is it a team? Do they play together the entire time, or is it like you play with somebody different in every?
No. So if you don't sign up with a partner, we'll pair you with a partner at your skill level.
So there's one winning team
per skill level. Yeah.
per skill level. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But the most advanced is 4.0 plus.
Okay.
So like if you're a 4.0, you're probably going to be competing against some fives.
True that. Is there prize money and stuff involved in Honcho?
Yeah, but if you quiz me on the details, I'm not going to be able to do it. But it's all on the website. There's prize money.
Isn't it your company?
Yeah, listen.
Said, listen, hey,
I got a partner who runs the show, so I don't keep up with all the details. But yeah, we're putting together some sick merch. We're spending way too much money on merch, by the way, but it's gonna be awesome. So everybody gets merch. We have condensed it down to, so we're kind of weeding it out because we wanna pick 5 cities. So the remaining 7 are Phoenix, Denver, LA, Dallas, Atlanta, Austin, Houston. Austin and Houston are oversubscribed, but because we're in both of those markets, like physically, we might end up taking more people. So if you do want to have a chance to play Zane one-on-one, you can still sign up for that. And then by next week, we're going to have our 5 selected. So we're coming down, and then we're going to kick off the seasons in October.
Are you guys on the gram as Honcho Pickle, or where can we find Honcho Pickle, Tommy?
Yeah, you didn't get any sleep, did you? Honcho. Oh, that was on my phone. I recorded that, not on here.
Yeah, it's okay. Nobody knows what you're talking about. We're both tired. There's been a lot going on. I haven't slept as much as I haven't got my beauty sleep clearly.
Yeah.
Thomas has been on 28 years of no beauty sleep. So yeah, we're just gonna struggle through this one.
Yeah. But yeah, Honcho Pickle on Instagram, honchopickle.com. Go register. And if you want to be like an ambassador, you want to like lead your city, let us know. We'll get you set up. And I think there's actually like commission if you help fill out your city. So you can like make money if you want to be like the champion of your city. But okay, we got a lot of stuff going on. All right. We did a nice little pod last night. I think we did a pretty good recap of everything that's going on and revealed some of the details, but certainly some more to be discussed. Jenny had a nice cameo. I thought that was great.
Yeah, she was not having it.
Yeah.
She wanted nothing to do with it. Wanted nothing to do with it. She's like, I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to get Zane in trouble. I'm like, Jenny, I've already gotten myself in trouble. Like, you're good. You can't get me in any more trouble than I've already gotten myself in. So,
I want to ask you something. You just tweeted singles mastery and a clip of you playing. Would you say that you've mastered singles?
I used to be pretty good at singles. Well, I don't know what I just posted.
You don't know what you just posted?
Well, me.
Too big time for that these days?
Was that a tweet or what?
Yeah, it was a tweet. And it's a clip of you playing. And you like win a point. It's like singles mastery.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
nobody's a master of singles. Singles is, in terms of strategy, 5 years behind doubles still. Like
think
people,
so?
yeah. Like the strategies of singles are going to evolve a ton. We're super far behind in singles compared to doubles.
Can I give my prediction on how that will change after having played 10 matches in my entire life?
Absolutely.
I think that more people will drop back to the baseline because the passing shots are going to become so effective, especially with the paddle innovation. And it's going to be less about rushing into the net and more about just being able to absolutely drill forehands down the line.
Yeah, I think so. I'd agree with that to a certain extent. If you're a big guy, you're going to be more aggressive going to the net, just because you can cover it a little bit better. It's going to depend on your own physique, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
if you're 6'2" like me, you probably still want to come to the net for a while.
When did you turn 6'2"?
So I put it on my license.
Yeah, it's
on the government ID, dude. It's official.
It's official.
Yeah.
You know, Althoff says he's white on his driver's license.
He can be whatever he wants. He's identify it as whatever you want.
Are we getting into politics now or what?
No. This is just, be whatever you want. It's cool.
All right. Why don't you play the next Women's U.S. Open?
I will.
Okay. All right. You heard it here first.
Controversial.
I'll play the 2-on-1 or I'll play the 2-on-1 Honcho Pickleball. Thomas is in the women's 35 plus.
All right.
U.S. Open next year.
I wonder how I would do. 35 plus?
I mean, who says
I'm not 35. My birthday is coming up and I'm sad.
All right. I'm just messing with you, dude. I'm just messing with you.
We haven't covered any ground yet.
Honestly, some of our best pods are that way.
Just absolutely babbling. But all right. Let's where should we start with this thing? Okay. I have so many different notes that I took. So
anything from yesterday's episode that you think deserves we could have talked about more or modified? Because I haven't heard any news since we recorded yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I have my own question, especially about how these contracts work, right? So if you sign a deal with Major League Pickleball, then you signed a deal and agreed to X amount of play for Major League Pickleball. And again, these are two distinct brands still, and they're going to continue to operate that way. At least that's what's been communicated. So you signed a deal, you expect to be paid this much, get these benefits, and you're going to compete in this many events or have this many competition days. Same thing with PPA, right? There's certain expectations. But if you signed up to just play all these different PPA tour events, if they want you to now play Major League Pickleball as well, if Julian Arnold is expected to play Major League Pickleball, should he be given another contract on top of that? How are they going to figure out how to allot these days so that it fits within what you agreed to participate in?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't know if there's a way to make that puzzle fit perfectly. So in my mind, these contracts are going to have to be, they're going to be changed.
They're going to be touched up for sure. I mean, for me and for the people who signed the Major League Pickleball deals, we're essentially an employee of Major League Pickleball for 200 days next year. And so they can more or less tell us to do whatever they want. They could tell us to play a PPA. I think they could tell us to play an APP, right? I don't know how that works on the other side.
Right. What happens with
Julian
Quang Dong when he's making $500,000?
Or Matt and Lucy, right? They don't seem to care too much for playing the Major League Pickleball events. What do they do now? Are they going to be told that they need to play MLP?
But were they even announced? Oh, they were. They were announced as PPA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
That's a good question. That's one of those details that we're gonna have to hurry up and wait for.
And nobody knows. Nobody knows. And so I was just sending some texts. I was putting some feelers out, just trying to get the temperature of different pros. And pretty much, I heard this from everybody. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. We don't know what's gonna happen. Even though there's this merger, there's still this feeling of who knows what's gonna happen in a week. Who knows what's gonna happen in 2024 when all this actually takes place, because from what we understand, 2023 continues as is. 2024 is when these contracts actually all start, and this new formulation is actually in effect.
So do you know anything about the PPA contracts? Because I can speak for the major league ones.
No.
I don't know. Do they have something similar? Like, you're basically an employee of PPA for 200 days of the year. You have X amount of tournaments that you have to do for the PPA.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the structure of those contracts. I don't know. Did they get to the contract phase? Did they pass the LOI phase? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Dang. Well, we'll see if I can find it, because Connor explained it to me and I wrote it down somewhere, but I have so many notes on this stuff. It's insane. But yeah, I would say like the other thing that I think is worth talking about, just being like a human for a second. I feel like we talked yesterday and we were sort of like laughing, and like everybody is entertained by this, but like there's a lot of, I don't know. I just think it's important to understand that like Steve and Connor Pardo in particular, like, you know, they're people and very much caught up in this, and this is very serious. What's been happening for us? It's just entertainment. And I almost like looked back at the way we were talking yesterday and felt like I was kind of callous in the way I was sort of like talking about some of this stuff. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of like, you know, a lot of people's lives are changing in many different ways throughout this entire process. And I just think it's like from the players to management to Connor and Steve, like it's just important to remember that if we're just going to be humans for a second here. That was one of the things I was just thinking as we kind of ended our recording yesterday.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Is there anything in particular that you felt like you said that was callous?
Not callous, but just sort of like, to us, it's just like, oh man, this happened and then this happened, and we're like, it's like entertainment for us. But I don't know, you know, like it's very serious to a lot of these people. I mean, even for somebody like you, right? Like this is your career.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really serious for everybody involved. It's even, you know, a lot of the times throughout this entire thing, we haven't focused on the implications for the fans quite as much. And that's the vast majority of people involved. Obviously, they don't have direct dollars on the line as a result of all of this, but there are hundreds of thousands of people that are impacted by this, some far more than others, right? Yeah, I mean, it's life-changing to a lot of people. It's life-changing to me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's life-changing to Connor and Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have a profound effect on some of the insiders in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just figured it was worth calling attention to, because for us, it's just been like, we're constantly tweeting updates and we're constantly, right? And like, there's a lot of emotions on the line and a lot of humans in play. And so, I don't know, it's just something to think about. But one thing, completely changing subjects here, but one thing we didn't talk about yesterday was like the tennis player signings, like Jeannie Bouchard, Jack Sock, Donald Young, Sam Querrey. Like, what do you think about those? And what do you think about like a Jeannie Bouchard in particular, where we don't even know if she's ever picked up a pickleball paddle?
I think she has now. I
saw
her at.
I
thought I saw some picture on like the City Pickle over in Central Park. I thought I did, and I was in Canada the last few days. Canadians love them, but they won't shut up about Jeannie Bouchard playing pickleball now.
Oh, really?
It's like, and I'm kidding, right?
She's
I'm
like their
tongue
hero.
in cheek, but like that was every single person that. Some of the my buddy Chad, who brought me there from Game Plus, would mention like, oh, Zane's a pro pickleball player, and then they'd be like, oh, so you seen that Jeannie Bouchard just signed with the PPA? That's in my Canadian accent.
Canceled.
There you go. Is that racist?
I don't know.
Are Canadians a race?
It's something.
All right. Well, if that's what I get canceled for, okay. But yeah, no, it was legit a very, very a lot of people have asked me about that. And, to date, we've seen really good guy players come in. Like Sam Querrey, I believe, was a top 10 player at one point. Mm-hmm. We know John Isner has dabbled, and there's been video of him playing. Mm-hmm. Donald Young is well known among Americans. We haven't had that top level female player quite yet. Like, obviously, Tina Pisnik was an unbelievable player, but she doesn't have the same name recognition as Jeannie Bouchard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's huge.
We're hanging out with Viore through the end of the year. I've got my new pants on, and I've got my shirt on underneath the hoodie.
Underneath the hoodie, of course.
Yeah. But I've literally been wearing nonstop Viore. I like being sponsored by them because I just keep getting more product, and I never have to think about what I'm going to wear.
I know. I keep getting more product, and I keep ending up wearing the exact same ones that I've had.
You have like your go-tos?
I have the go-tos. They're at the. Yeah. I have a LIFO inventory system of my closet. Last in, first out.
Yeah.
For all those accountant bros out there.
Yeah.
Basically, I toss the shirts on the top of the pile, and then the last shirt that's been tossed on the top of the pile will be the shirt that I take out. And same with the shorts.
Yeah.
I'm like fully kitted out in Discovery Warriors Viore attire from like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I know. You said that shirt's like multiple years old, right?
Yeah. This shirt is still as soft as I first got it. And it was November of 2021. These shorts are still unbelievably comfortable. November 2021. Very first MLP.
Viore.com/thedink. 20% off your first purchase. Free shipping on orders, $75 or more. Viore.com/thedink.
And especially like there are more guys seemingly taking this as a full-time job, right? There seem to be a larger pool of male talent at this point than there is female talent. And having somebody that a lot of players probably looked up to growing up, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a great recruiting mechanism for the sport.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just like it's basically they're just like, yeah, well, hopefully it pans out, right? Like there was a bunch of high-level college tennis players who got signed by the PPA because they just needed to add depth. And now it's like, all right, well, let's see if it pans out, but it's just a massive question mark.
I think they're irrelevant as players. No matter how good they are, even if they become a number one player, like Jack Sock could very well become one of the best pickleball players, but that's not even necessarily the value of Jack Sock. Like, he's not just another pickleball player. He is a guy that brings legitimacy to the sport when he's taking it seriously and grinding. That's how we turn those tennis pickleball haters into believers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with Jeannie, same with Sam. And I think that it'll be really good for recruiting top level Division I tennis talent to play this game after they've finished school. Or even Kwangdong, I think he turned down a pretty serious tennis scholarship to do this full time.
Oh, well, I don't know.
That's the rumor that I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether this is accurate or not. What I've heard, and I don't even remember the source, was that he turned down a very, very good Division I school, like an elite D1 tennis program, to do this pickleball full time.
Dang. That's pretty wild. Did he know he was going to pursue it full time prior to getting this big contract, which again was $500,000 from the PPA, is what we're hearing from a number of different sources?
I'm assuming that the $500,000 was enticing him to leave that tennis behind and go full-time pickleball.
Yeah, but like you hadn't heard that he had committed to pursue pickleball and give up a tennis scholarship prior to all this. You were hearing this after the fact, right?
I was under the understanding that he was going to train both for a while, tennis and pickleball.
Got it. Okay.
And now it sounds like it's pickleball only.
Tennis first pickleball players, let me pose this question to you. If you were a pickleball brand right now and you have the choice of signing a Jack Sock who has showed a ton of potential, but is still relatively unknown whether he'll be a mainstay. Or you could sign somebody like a Tyson McGuffin, who podiums all the time, has his own personal brand, is kind of was going to be the face of Major League Pickleball. Who would you put your money behind? Who would you sign to like a 3-year or like a 5-year deal?
You first. Answer your own question.
I don't know. That's why I'm posing the question. I think it's a really good question. I think you could make the argument for either. One's a bigger bet. So Jack Sock is 30. Tyson, I think, is 34. So they're decently close in age. But one's a relatively unknown, but has a ton of upside and shows a lot of promise. And obviously has his big brand from tennis. Mm-hmm. The other is a perennial winner and is a face in pickleball. Has a brand in pickleball right now. But, how much longer is he going to be at the top of the game? Or within, the top 10?
Yeah. Or, how seriously does Jack take it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, it seems by all accounts he loves it. But maybe he just takes a little bit of time off of traveling from tennis for forever and realizes, like, hey, I just want to be at home with my family.
Yeah. He just wants to chill.
And just like, I'm out, I'm done. Because he can more easily walk away from this than Tyson can.
Yeah. All right, but you have to answer if you were a brand. If you were a
brand, you answer first, dude. You haven't given an answer. Once you give a name, just say a name.
I think I would go for whatever makes the most like noise. And so I'd probably go with like a Jack Sock.
Okay. I'll formulate a counter argument, not because I believe it, because I just want to argue.
Also, I'm teeing up some breaking news here, so go.
Okay. Wow. I'll take Tyson. He is obviously super well known in pickleball and an internal person, right? Like, he's more of a known commodity and is seen as a pickleball expert. Even if Jack gets really good, maybe he's not seen as a expert per se. But all right, so what are you doing? What are you teeing up here?
Oh, that has nothing to do with it. This is my Stack Athletics, but it has nothing to do with this.
That's your Stack Athletics. I thought we were sponsored by Viore, bro.
I am. I'm wearing my Viore, obviously.
Okay.
But little shout to Stack and George over there. But anyway, let's go back. Might get derailed here. So all the rumblings right now are that Jack Sock has signed with Selkirk. Not confirmed, no announcements yet, but that's what I'm hearing, which to me is a pretty big signing. On the flip side of that, Tyson is leaving Selkirk and going to Yola.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins in that? Like, would you rather be Yola signing Tyson right now, or would you rather be Selkirk signing Jack Sock?
Man, Selkirk has poured a lot of money into Tyson. I mean, pretty much all of their clothing have TMs on it? A lot of them, maybe they've moved away from that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's like a specific line that they have.
Okay. Originally, I felt like everything was on there. So who do I feel like wins that? That's interesting, because I feel like Yola has kind of had what they need, right? They have the top guy in the game in Ben. Ben will always be the face.
Yeah.
Like,
lifetime contract.
What does Tyson? Obviously, he adds eyeballs. He adds a different line of things, a different type of player. But what does he add on top of Ben? Right? I don't know. I feel like he'll be second fiddle to Ben, and that's not a wrong thing, right? But he also, he's got a more of a out there personality than Ben. That's for sure, right? Ben's more reserved, keeps himself.
Good segue.
Oh boy. So who do I think wins that? I think I'm gonna give Selkirk the win on that, even though I said that I think Tyson is a more marketable pickleball person than Jack Sock. I'm going to give Selkirk the win there, because Selkirk I think they need to have another guy to replace Tyson. And Yola, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of new benefit to signing Tyson.
Yeah. Fair.
Your thoughts?
Fair. Yeah. I mean, now I want to segue. I want to segue into the...
Okay. Let's go.
The segue into the Tyson flipping the bird to Tyler Loong.
Hey, Crime Dog, Adam Stone here in the booth. Way to pull out that game 3. And I have to ask, Tyson, we saw off camera a little conversation between you and Tyler Loong after that match, and it might not have been positive. Would you care to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, it's just boys being boys. He likes to, comment about me in a very positive way on his podcast, so I just let him know.
All right, there's the answer.
All right.
Appreciate that.
So, Tyson, when you come in here to a storied tennis facility like this, you've got your tennis background. Does that make this one more special?
Oh, hell yeah.
Did you watch that?
Oh yeah, I did. I saw that like almost immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Somebody texted me.
Yeah.
So I actually listened to King of the Court for just that. I was actually in the car with my buddy Chad up in Canada. We were driving to play some pickleball, and we put on the first 15 minutes of that podcast, and it was fire.
Yeah. So should we break down kind of the sequence of events?
Go for it.
Okay, so Tyson and Tyler are playing. Tyson wins, paddle tap, everything's all good. They walk away. Tyler sits down. Tyson walks to the other side of the court. Tyler's family's like behind him, like on the court, or in the venue. Tyson starts to circle back around, and all of a sudden, like on the feed, we obviously some words exchange. Everybody can read lips.
We need John Boy for this one.
Yeah.
You ever seen John Boy Media?
Yeah. Wait, no. Eddie and Webby did like
I did see Eddie and Webby's.
So shout out to them. But yeah, so clear obscenities, really going after Tyler, which is I think the weird part was like, okay, they did paddle tap and then they walked away, and then all of a sudden Tyson like flipped back around and was all of a sudden like livid and just going off on Tyler. And it didn't really look like Tyler was responding. Flips him the bird, and then starts to walk away. You just see Tyler like laughing, which to me was like Tyler just didn't even know how to react. He was just like, I'm just gonna laugh because I don't know what else to do. But then as Tyson's walking away, Tyler starts thinking like, okay, what's my comeback? And so he chirps Tyson for the fake Instagram followers. And then Tyson walks to the other side and then walks back to his side of the court. And then so he does he walks in a circle. And then as he's walking back over to Tyler's side, but on the other side of the net, Tyler gets up and walks over to him and starts like doing this like bowing motion. Like he's mocking him like, oh, like King Tyson. Right. And so that was like the extent of the change. But then of course it all spills over to social media. And so we posted that, and then Tyson
get
comments,
him in the octagon.
I would love to see that.
But it's Loong and Jimmy versus Tyson, because Tyson's got some fighting background.
Yeah, he's a wrestler. I mean, that was like his high school thing.
Yeah,
right?
get him in the octagon.
His dad was a wrestling coach or something like that.
That's how we settle disputes now.
So nobody really knows what it was about in the moment. But then Tyson takes to Instagram, comments on our post where we like posted the video. And he goes, talk about my wife and you get put on blast. Winky face. While that's happening, Tyler takes a screenshot of Tyson flipping the bird and puts it on his story. And it just says, Family Guy. And then
I didn't see that.
And then Odoth put up a video where it's, Tyson on his podcast being like, I'm a family man. I'm a stand-up guy. Everyone knows my MO. How I appreciate other players, respect other players. And so like he's playing that audio while showing Tyson flipping the bird, which is just...
Yeah, that was the audio from after I was on court with DJ and DJ countered a ball and screamed never while he was countering the ball.
Right.
And then they had some words afterwards in that match.
Yeah, so Tyler, and we were in a text with Tyler and Jimmy, right? And Tyler and Jimmy were like, show us the clip. Like, what did we say? So eventually a clip did surface where, like Jimmy's making fun of Tyson because he's not carrying his bag for his wife. His wife has to carry his own bags. And so Jimmy's like talking about his wife carrying her own bag through the airport is a shot at him, not her. Shows how dumb he actually is. I felt bad for her. And then obviously they went on the podcast, which is what you listened to, and kind of rehashed the whole thing. So I don't know. I thought it was just pure entertainment. And I love the animosity. Do you think that was like the first time there's really been a true like heated exchange on camera on the pickleball court?
No. Have you ever watched Salome play Leia?
Well, yeah. Yeah, but that's more like Leia's like waving her off and like doesn't paddle tap. And where she's like screaming at the ref, like, make a better call, or like she's clearly cheating.
Maybe in that specific context where the people are really going at it. Possibly. I don't know. I'm sure I would guess that there's probably others. Entertaining, yeah. I think I think that the flip switch from Tyson is interesting. Like he, kind of thought that he was off camera in the clear.
Do you think that's what it was, or do you think he just like he started thinking about it and then flipped and got pissed? Like, do you think he was being like, okay, while I'm on camera, let me do the like respectable thing and like paddle tap. Yeah. Now that I'm off camera, let me go give him a piece of my mind.
I don't know. And I mean, just knowing Tyler's a chirper as well. And
like what will he say?
I mean, Tyler will make some comments.
Yeah,
that's for sure. We haven't heard Tyson's side of this story to my knowledge. I don't know whether did he do a podcast? Did he talk about it at all?
I don't think he's really talked about it. No, he just had that one Instagram post. I mean, while he was being interviewed on court, he said, "Boys will be boys." Tyler likes to say pleasant things about me on his podcast, so I decided to tell him what's up, basically, which is like pretty much a non-answer.
So I don't know whether this is true and this isn't on camera, but like, there could be more to the story. There could have been words up there, right?
Yeah.
Like there could have been words up there that we don't know. It also could have just been a flip out. I think we didn't see the entirety, I feel like. But I'm curious what a sponsor thinks of that, right? Like, is it this is bad look on us, or is it that's Tyson being Tyson? We signed Tyson,
right?
Like he's gonna do his thing,
yeah,
and we're gonna get a whole lot more eyeballs because of it,
yeah.
And also, in the grand scheme of things, there are probably a lot of people that will take Tyson's side in it, right or wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't even know. I don't know what's right or wrong, whose side to necessarily be on. But like, I don't know if this makes him look like a total a-hole.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not a good look. Obviously, we saw what he did, but like, I don't know. I don't know if this is. I don't know. Does this change anybody's opinion of Tyson?
It doesn't change mine. If I were a brand, I'd be like, that was wild. And I'd move on. Like, I wouldn't really care that much. But yeah, I guess like, pickleball forum people are all like, on Tyson's side because boomers love Tyson.
The boomers love Tyson and his nipple serves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't really move the needle.
Yeah.
One thing I was having a conversation with somebody, and I've been surprised that there hasn't been more of a like pickleball canceled type of thing where public opinion really turns against somebody. There's been really none of that I can think of. Can you?
I don't know. I feel like people have gone pretty hard at like Riley sometimes, against Salome, against Leia for sure. So there's been some of that, but typically it subsides and people move on.
Right. They'll go hard for a little bit and then just get over it.
Yeah. And then Mexico reveals that there's aliens and, we're worried about a nuclear war and people move on. Like, it's just like the nature of.
Yeah, I suppose so. There hasn't been any, I think, enormous outrage against a player for doing something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yet.
Well. Yeah. Not public enough, right?
Right. Not scaled. Not yeah. Who's gonna be the first pickleball player to get canceled?
To get like full on canceled?
Yeah.
I mean,
who's gonna really F up?
If you can steal a McLaren or a Lamborghini or whatever it was and nobody bats an eye, then I think you can pretty much do anything out there.
We'll put that theory to the test.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Have you seen this pickle 4444444 account on Twitter?
Yeah.
Who seems to be in the know, clearly on the inside.
Very much on the inside.
Sometimes bringing up information that's it's like already out there, but clearly getting information from people on the inside, and has decided to make an anonymous account to air some of that out.
Yeah, that person has had a couple of things that even I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, wow. I had no idea.
Right.
This.
Who do you think that is? Who do you think it could be? Do you think it's a player, owner, coach, somebody in one of the organizations?
I think it would be a somewhat disgruntled PPA employee or MLP owner or somebody close to one of those people. I think somebody on the inside is not stoked about what's going on, still has the trust of the people that they're speaking with, and they've decided for whatever reason that they're going to let things out. Also, I don't quite understand for what purpose. Like,
right.
What does this person get out of this, right? Like, it's not, they're not breaking the news under their own name. Like, look, this is what I know. And then if you're doing that, you're at least known as an industry insider, right? Like those guys who announce that so-and-so has signed a $300 million deal with the Yankees, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this person gets out of releasing some of this info, other than maybe they're just irritated with something or another.
Yeah.
But they've got good intel. What's your theory?
I don't know. I'm trying to reread the tweets and see if there's a bias toward any one side. But it doesn't seem to be. It just seems to be like trying to bring light to things that are happening behind the scenes.
It felt like more information coming out of the MLP side.
I agree with that. Yeah.
It felt like there was more stuff from MLP side, not necessarily in favor of MLP, but MLP type news. Like
this one. If I were Ben Johns, I wouldn't sign any extension given the current pro pickleball landscape, unless it included a massive signing bonus for all money up front. Wait until 2024 to see what unfolds and command your price. Help get more control for the players. So in that instance, it's like, well, Ben Johns obviously was going to be, and this is September 2nd, would be, a surefire thing for the PPA. So if you're going to say that, then you're insisting Ben Johns don't sign with the PPA. Like, consider your options, which to me indicates, this is somebody who is, if they're in favor of any one organization, it would be Major League Pickleball.
Well, if that account wants to come forward and come on the podcast, can we get him on the podcast anonymously?
We'll do a voice changer.
A voice changer. Let's get PB444, whatever this person is. We'll get him on the pod. Spill some inside info.
I'd be down to do it. I'm trying to see if there's any more hidden stuff in their tweets that we can pinpoint to give us some clue. I've definitely heard some theories about who it is, which is interesting, and people think it's somebody pretty involved with a few of the players on the MLP side.
Do you think it's Jim Kloss's burner?
No, I think he has enough burners already, doesn't he?
Does he?
Well, I mean, he's got an account.
So you're calling his account a burner?
There's a parody Jim Kloss account, and then Jim Kloss's cat has an account.
Oh,
So-
there's a parody account and a Gym Classes Cat
Unless
account.
that's the same one. I don't know.
I follow the Gym Classes Cat one.
Tough to keep up with all these Anon accounts. I mean,
I'm here for it.
there's so many.
I like the Anonymous
Why is that?
accounts.
Why won't people just like stand by their opinions?
Because you can go real hard when you don't have your name behind it, I suppose.
But like some of them aren't even going that hard. It's like if you're, you can have like a loaded opinion and it not mean that you're a jerk, right? Like, and if you're gonna have that opinion, then you should stand by it.
I mean, that's generally what I think. Now, does that mean that
Yeah.
it's not entertaining?
Yeah.
No, it's very entertaining. I don't mind it. I like the people that are there to stir the pot. I actually really like the people that talk crap about me on Twitter. Like if I don't go on a tremendous amount, but if I see something, I find it like so entertaining, and I actually like want to engage with those people more. So feel free to shit talk me on Twitter, everybody. That's if you didn't feel free enough already.
Okay.
And hit Thomas while you're at it too.
No,
At read my newsletter, bro. You really had to give your Twitter handle for our live for our live
I always
podcast
do that.
yesterday.
Yeah, bro. Learn how to grow your brand.
Oh my goodness.
MBA
MBA student right there.
Yeah. Let me ask you some questions. We'll just get your answers to some of these. When is the next tour war? Will it just go back to being a Cold War, or will we actually have peace on Earth?
Now it's an internal war. Now it's succession, right? Now it's where does the board vote, and the internal politics of, I don't know how board seats are elected. Is this a permanent vote? Like what happens if somebody steps down? This now turns into internal Major League Pickleball PPA succession, where there's struggle for votes on important topics. And so I think a lot less of the dirty laundry will be out there in the public. It'll be very internal.
Can I?
Yeah. You look like you want to say something. Go ahead, spit it out.
Because I just got a text. So as you were saying, like we've really only heard the side of Tyler and Jimmy. And then we only had like Tyson's interview and the one rogue Instagram comment. So I texted Tyson. I was like, hey, dude, like, I don't want this to be completely one-sided. Is there anything you want to say? And all he said was, both dudes are irrelevant. Pardo and Ogden paid me a bonus for it.
Wow.
So interpret that how you want. I love the
Pardo
short and
and
sweet
Ogden,
response.
you guys still owe me money. If Tyson's getting bonuses for flip-offs,
maybe you gotta embrace the bad boy. That's how you get paid.
who do I
around
need
here.
to flip off to get paid?
I don't know. You just start flipping random people off in Atlanta and see what happens.
I flip off people until I get paid. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good approach.
Okay, I got to talk to Tyson.
All right, next question. That's funny, man. Okay.
That's. Do you think that's true? Do you think he actually gets? There's no way he got paid a bonus for it.
No.
Like, should he got fined what, $1? You get fined $1 maybe?
Yeah.
I'm
One of those
surprised. I'm
slaps on the
actually
wrist.
surprised they haven't put an article out yet, right?
No, they got way bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know.
But like, they like to capitalize on the drama, and I don't blame them at all.
Yeah.
Like when DJ throws the paddle, give him a fine. It's $1. DJ wouldn't answer.
So the streaker, by the way, whoever that is definitely paid by the PPA or arranged by the PPA. That's my theory. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like that's a setup for sure. Right?
I could 100% see that. Was that you? Also, what was your whereabouts? What was your whereabouts this last Saturday at 3 p.m. or whatever the hell it was?
It's in
What's your alibi, bro?
Michigan at a wedding. There's footage.
Michigan. That's just one state over from Ohio.
Yeah, it is. I probably could have driven there. I definitely could have. Could have been me. Who knows? All right. Next question. Let's see.
It wasn't Maurice the Grease.
Yeah.
But that's right up his alley.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past him though. All right. Let's see. There was one I wanted to read. Is there going to be any bad blood or awkwardness, maybe even MLP roster chemistry issues, or are the pros able to be pros about this stuff?
I think there'll be festering issues on the pay inequality. Like, that'll be irritating, but I really hope that doesn't bleed over to on the court. I think once you're on the court, you want to win together. I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's definitely going to be, I think there will be animosity and tension. I don't see how there couldn't be.
Between players?
Well, between players, but not because of like the way the merger panned out. I don't think, right? Like, could you think of any instance where a player would harbor frustrations for another player based on the way things went down? I mean, I could absolutely see two players on an MLP team, and I'd have to look at the rosters to even think about if this might be feasible in Atlanta. But, one is clearly better than the other, has better results, has a higher rating. But because of the way this panned out, the weaker player is paid like 3 times that of the more talented player. Find the more talented player. You have a good approach to it. You talked about it yesterday, right? Like, you're just happy that you won in this as an individual. You got a pay increase. You're better off. Most players are. But I could see them looking at the person next to them and comparing. And if I think I'm better than that player, but they're getting paid triple what I'm getting paid, I'm going to be pissed. And it's going to be hard not to get frustrated at that person, even though it's not their fault, right? But just egos are involved, human emotions are involved, and it's very difficult not to compare your worth to those around you.
Sure. I don't know if that's... I don't think it's warranted frustration at that player. There can be frustration, and I think that frustration is warranted, but not towards that player, right? It's not that player's fault that they are getting paid more, and it's good for them, right? Yeah. What did you expect them to do in that situation, mm-hmm. right? What's the alternative? You should have taken less money or to redistribute your money. No. Like, I don't think makes any sense whatsoever to be mad at that player. I think you can make an argument for being mad at the league, whatever. You can voice your displeasure with the league, but it's not that other player's fault. That's for sure. Yeah. And honestly, like, if you're a good person, I feel like you should be happy for that other person, mm-hmm. right? I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there may be awkwardness with. I think there's probably going to be awkwardness with staff.
For sure.
Yeah, you've already seen some memes of pickleball about it.
How could there not be? Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys were bitter enemies trying to kill each other, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And now they have to come together and play nice.
Yeah. But I mean, also, I think there's going to be awkwardness between staff and players too. Like, I said what I said. I'm not going to take any of it back. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with PPA. I have a problem with certain individuals in the leadership team. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't think it's a bad organization. I think that there have been some issues that I've had with individuals. And I think that it's not necessarily between a person and the league, but rather a person and whoever it is that they're, I guess, interacting with. And maybe some of that'll be alleviated, right? Maybe if there's some person or another that had, big problems with Brooks, you find a workaround. Or on the flip side, somebody who had a big problem with a PPA employee, like, you figure out a way where they don't have to deal with or work with that person, I suppose. Or some checks and balances there. So yeah, like, I think there'll be some awkwardness, but it's like a regular job. There are plenty of coworkers that don't get along, and you're there to do a job. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day.
So speaking of the job and your obligations as a player, So one of the questions was, will Major League Pickleball and PPA players be required to play in both event types, or can they choose one? For example, you signed up to play MLP events. They're probably going to try and say, hey, you have requirements on the PPA tour now. Do you think that's fair? And what about vice versa? And how do you think that will shake out?
For the amount of money that they're paying me, I would clean out the porta-potties. Like, I'll do whatever the hell they want. I don't think that sure, maybe I signed an agreement to play Major League Pickleball, but like, I'll play a regular tour style event for these dollar amounts. Like, sure, there's might be a format that I prefer over the other, but I don't know how that's going to work. And at the end of the day, is that the job is more or less the same. You're playing pickleball for money. And is the format of that going to make you want to reject your 6-figure deal? I doubt it. Like, you can complain all you want in the beginning. Maybe you do complain in the beginning and you try and have it your way, right? But at the end of the day, nobody's going to turn down one of these deals because they don't want to play the team format or they don't want to play the tournament format. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'd clean porta potties for this dollar amount.
Yeah. So are you kind of like, why would these players even consider boycotting Major League Pickleball, like this upcoming event? Because apparently that's still sort of something that's being considered by some players.
I don't have updates on that. Yeah, I haven't spoken to anybody from since we recorded yesterday on that. I think making your opinions heard is important. I don't know if a boycott is the best way of doing it, but everybody's going to make their own individual decisions on that. I won't be boycotting Atlanta.
And neither will I. So,
we were worried.
Yeah.
What number are you on the alternate list? If you're a 3.8 duper?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
There were some people lower than you on the MLP draft application for the second half of this year.
Listen, I love it. Shoot for the stars.
There were like 400 dudes that signed up.
Well, when you start to see some of these names going, you might think, because everybody's delusional already. Everybody already in pickleball is like, I think maybe I could go pro. Like, that's the thing, right? It's kind of like golf. When you hit a good shot, you're like, dang, I could probably be pretty good at golf. Same thing with pickleball, but even more so. It's like everyone who's a 5-0-ish is like, hey, maybe I could go pro. And so when some of these names started flying off the board, I think that made a lot of people say, wait, maybe I could too, right?
There you go. Shoot your shot. Shooter's going to shoot.
Yeah, man. Chase your dreams. You can go for it. You're not going to get drafted if you don't enter the draft.
That's true. You might as well.
How do you think USA Pickleball factors into all this?
I don't think they do.
Yeah, right? Isn't that interesting? Like, I don't think anybody's mentioned their name throughout this entire process. What does USA Pickleball do?
At this point, I don't know. That's a good question.
Put their logo on a NASCAR.
They did do that.
Yeah, they have a membership. What do you, like, if you pay for a membership, USA Pickleball, what do you get? Like, these days, what?
You get to sign up for USA Pickleball tournaments, I think.
Like nationals and stuff, but which is PPA now.
Kind of, right?
What does USA Pickleball have any of its own majors now?
Yeah, there's like the golden ticket events and stuff, right? But those are all sort of
nationals, PPA nationals.
But does PPA own nationals fully? I thought it was.
I don't know how
kind
that works. I'm not sure.
I could be incorrect, but for some reason I thought it was like a joint venture.
Yeah, but if it is a joint venture, then USA Pickleball is going to honor like PPA victories and take those into consideration, right? Like, it's not just about getting the golden tickets anymore, is it? I don't know.
I think you have to. So, like the Kansas City tournament was a golden ticket event.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you win that in your bracket, you get to go to nationals. Mm-hmm. So I don't think USA Pickleball is like operating their own tournaments. I think that they are like partnering with certain tournaments.
Right.
So honestly, yeah, I don't quite know what their future is.
They send me my pickleball magazine, once a month or whatever.
Yeah, fair.
Wait,
I'm curious to know.
For that?
I would love to actually know, what USA Pickleball's plans are for. I see them. I see their involvement in paddle regulation waning. I think this is going to get taken over by the pro tours.
Has it not already?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I think it's going to start.
You still got to get the USAPA stamp of approval on your paddle, right?
Currently, for now, but why does that matter? That stamp has continually gone down in value. Right. With advancements in paddle that used to mean something, and it doesn't as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they test things in the most effective ways possible. It's hard to say, how Carl is necessarily doing things at PPA, because I don't know whether Carl is testing for PPA under PPA standards, or whether this is some sort of USA Pickleball thing. I guess I would just need some clarity there. But either way, I do think in not a whole lot of time, I think that the league is going to regulate their own thing, especially because the league needs to make this game good for TV.
Mm-hmm.
USA Pickleball wants paddles that are good for amateur participation, right? They have two different goals. Major League Pickleball and PPA could say, okay, we really want super spinny paddles because we think it looks better on TV. And USA Pickleball might say, well, we don't want super spinny paddles because that makes the game harder for amateurs to pick up.
Right.
And they have differing objectives there. So you want to test the paddles to the objective of your tour. So USA Pickleball approved will still be a thing, but you might see MLP or PPA approved.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a long way of saying I don't know, and I don't think they're going to. I think there will be different paddle testing agencies pretty quickly.
Yeah. USA Pickleball's authority generally seems to be waning. I mean, the fact that nobody's brought up their name throughout this entire saga, I think that speaks volumes.
Well, and just the fact that there's now a $50 million investment in the pro game. Like, they're going to have MLP PPA is going to be the driving force in the game, if it's not already, right? There's more money there. They're going to have bigger databases of people. They're going to be able to know who's playing better. Duper is still involved in this deal, so you're going to have data on all the different people that are playing. You're going to have data on the different people that are attending events.
No, Duper's not involved in this deal. Duper stays under the control of Steve Kuhn. Now, obviously, Steve Kuhn is still on the board of Major League Pickleball, but Duper, I believe, from what I've heard, has been carved out, along with Minor League Pickleball and all the other ventures, because I think like Pickleball was somehow involved in that kind of ownership group. And
I'll have to go back to my contract. I understood it as I would be working with MLP and Duper when I signed my MLP contract. But that also could be because I had already been working with Duper ahead of that.
Right.
I'll have to go back and look at the wording of my contract.
Yeah.
But either way, I get the sense that Major League, even if it's not technically rolled up into that deal, I get the sense that they are going to work very, very closely together.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I think that it is because Major League Pickleball basically did absorb Duper pre-Vibe merger in 2022. That was getting taken back out with the Vibe merger. So the Duper and Minor League was not going to be a part of the joint Major League Pickleball Vibe ownership. That deal obviously fell through. The Vibe and MLP ownership fell through, meaning I don't think that Duper was ever spun off from Major League Pickleball officially. But I don't know. We'll find out. I think that's what's going on, but I could and probably am wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little a piece because you mentioned kind of anon accounts who like to come at you. So I grabbed one of their comments who thought that you gave like a two-sided answer yesterday. So I'm gonna read their comment and you can react to it. Okay. So it says Zane, and then it's like you in quotes. I'm happy with where I'm at. That's what you said. After whining about perceived inequalities for 10 minutes, only to cap it off by asserting that the contracts players agreed to were somehow not negotiated in good faith. Seriously, bro? You admitted that you ran to the money. Nothing else mattered to you. You ran to the light while telling the entity that put you on the map to pound salt. That's all you saw, brother. Money. It was clearly all about you.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, you went hard at you, dude. What'd you do to this guy?
Is that Mr. Joe Steelers fan guy or who is that? I
didn't write down a name, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah.
No, I explained. I said, yes, I am very, very happy with where I'm at. I was trying to explain what I think is going through other people's head. For me, I tried to worry about myself, and I am in a much better spot now than I was 3 weeks ago. Right? So that's me. And then we were discussing Atlanta sit-outs, all that stuff. And I said, I can understand why people are upset. Now, that doesn't mean I'm upset about it. I'm not upset that somebody else is getting paid more than me. I'm very happy with where I'm at. I'm going to make that clear. I'm going to make that as clear as possible. Mm. All I'm saying is I can understand why somebody else is upset. If they're comparing themselves to the person next door, I get that. Mm. I am good. I'm very happy. I'll say for the third time, I would shovel shit for this amount of money. Yeah. Like, I'm good. Yeah. What else do we have to unpack from that? Because I feel like there were like 8 statements in one there.
No, I thought that was, I think you pretty much, it was all pointing at the same thing, right? Like, you said it wasn't about the money, but then he was asserting that basically you went to the money because you made the evaluation of which contract would be more likely to actually come to fruition, like which contract would actually pay you out. And you made the assessment that Major League Pickleball had a higher probability, and that was part of the factoring into your decision to go with Major League Pickleball.
Yeah, sure. And I still think that was, I think that's true. I've made the decision.
Well, you're not going to go with the contract that you don't think you're going to get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that also doesn't change the fact that I think that some of the money thrown around, or at least some of the things that we had heard, don't feel like realistic amounts.
Right.
There was an amount that I've heard verbally on the table for a certain player that hit the $10 million mark. And that was an offer that these players then decided to go with the other organization.
Right.
They heard that and they said, okay, that's not a real number.
Yeah, right.
I'm not the only one that thinks that a lot of these weren't real numbers.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think one of the speculations was like, okay, so the PPA was making offers just because they had to do something to retain the talent and not allow that talent to go over to Major League Pickleball in the heat of the moment. So they threw out these numbers, as you would say, in bad faith. They never actually expected to pay those out. Again, this is speculation. But now that the two entities have come together and agreed to honor those contracts, now they actually do have to pay those out, right? So it almost like they thought maybe they could get away with the fast one, but now they shot themselves in the foot because there's a way greater financial obligation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, there's still a million questions on that, and I don't think that the payment structure topic is closed. I think we need to wait for more info on it.
Yeah.
I don't think Major League Pickleball and PPA are going to come out with a press release saying, hey, we merged. Everything's going to be different. We don't know what that looks like quite yet, but go ahead and speculate on your own.
That was one of the thoughts I had, though, was like, okay, so they merge and they form this new entity. What if they structure it as a brand new company and therefore the previous contracts are dissolved because those were made to two companies that no longer exist.
That's a legitimate thing to be concerned about.
That'd be a hell of a loophole.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to garner. You want some element of good faith with your players, but also now they have leverage, right? They certainly have leverage, and I don't think that they want to use it and squash us into the ground, but it's an option that they have.
Yeah, we don't have another option really. Like it's play MLP PPA or play APP. We at this point are at their mercy, I think. Well, unless you guys come together. I mean, don't you think this is now more than ever the moment to create some sort of players union? Yeah, I mean, that's always great in theory. Like, like if they decide to truly hose us, we could try to sit out, we could do whatever, but that's difficult to do, right? That's very, very difficult to do. I've been a part of like 3 or 4 attempts, or been part in conversations with 3 or 4 different groups that had been trying to put something like this together, and they've all fallen flat. However, now that we are negotiating only against one entity, it will be slightly easier to form, right? If the players are negotiating on behalf of the players, and some of them are going to PPA, and some of them are going to APP, and some of them are going to MLP, that's hard to have one association that represents all of those interests. Yeah. But when it's us against the MLP PPA joint ownership, it gets a little bit easier. Right. But either way, like I don't think that's something that's going to happen between now and January 1st. Yeah. It still does surprise me, though, that regardless of, what organization was trying to orchestrate it, some of the top players in the game didn't hit up all the other players and get everybody onto a Zoom call or in a room and say, how do we come together to make sure we create the leverage for ourselves? We're the product, and go out there and get the best accommodations for us, right? So that we don't end up in the crossfire of, something like this. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to me that has not happened. And maybe there were attempts previously to get everybody in a room like talking, but there've been attempts. I think it's going to take us getting royally hosed to actually get this to happen. Right. And so until... Yeah, because it's weird. In this moment, you all got royally upgraded. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming all of this, continues as is and the contracts are fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying they won't be, by the way. I was just sort of throwing a scenario out there. It's within the realm of possibilities. I don't think anybody wants to do that. I think that they want to pay us. We want to get paid. But it's within the realm of possibility. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to read you a couple more comments here, and I just want you to kind of react to them. So they're not necessarily questions. Is this Zane reads mean tweets? Can we got to do that. We need to do a segment of Zane reads mean tweets and Thomas reads mean tweets. The other guy reads mean tweets. So somebody said, why is the other guy so bitter yesterday when we were live streaming? Did I seem bitter? Did I seem like I was bitter about anyone? Maybe I was the other guy. Yeah. I don't know. No, they said Thomas. Oh, they knew your name? Yeah, it was very nice. It was very kind. But they said you were bitter. I felt valued. Except for they said I was acting bitter, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, I didn't pick up bitter from you. But you definitely seem bitter now. So if that's... Very bitter. All right. Ken Hermann, the only true OG left. Kind of true. He's just plugging along. He's just doing his thing. The cockroach, as you said yesterday. Yeah, in the most nice way possible. In the most sincere way possible. Yeah. It's subjective whether cockroaches are gross or not. How is that subjective? Name me one person who doesn't think you've ever seen those like gross. TikToks, the weird bug kids, and they're playing with cockroaches. They love them. But you already just called them weird in that.
So so if you play with
Subjective, that's
cockroaches,
my subjective.
you're weird. You just admitted it yourself.
All right, dude, stop.
Damn, I should have been a lawyer.
Yeah, that's good. Well played. There was no way to communicate to players first and expect it to stay private until the press release happened. This is standard practice in any real business, because I think kind of one of the criticisms yesterday was how the hell was their first initiative to go make sure they did a press release versus like communicating to the players.
I would say 95%. No, let's say 95% of people who played MLP season 1 knew about this merger by the time it hit the press release. Like the players knew, and nobody knows the terms. Probably those 5 board members are still working on details of this, right? So you come out with bits and pieces. I understand it. Like there wasn't a tremendous amount of substance to the press release, but you get the news out there that like, look, we have one joint ownership group. That news, I think, provides more clarity than not releasing that news.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's legit that they have merged. Now we're working on other things. So I don't have a problem with how they did it. Like they're working on stuff they don't know.
Do you want to see rally scoring or traditional scoring moving forward?
I still think rally scoring makes much more sense.
Really?
I think you should
Do you like personally playing it more than side out?
I do, because I think it's more, I mean, you just kind of know how long your match is going to go for the most part. You don't get stuck playing a 2-hour match.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer it.
One of the interesting things that I didn't realize is that there's no more relegation. So all 24 teams are premier now in 2024.
Damn right, Frisco Pandas. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
A season to be forgotten. And yeah.
And you just continue. So then in 2024, all of a sudden it's like, okay, go. And everybody has to scramble to sign people.
At the beginning of 2024, I believe there is a free agency.
So it's going to be pure chaos, right?
More chaos.
I mean, that's what's going to happen.
More podcasts.
And we're going to have to like live tweet who signed with who. And it's going to be to, the Frisco Pandas advantage to announce when they make a big signing so that the other players hear and they have more leverage in the future conversations. And so I have a feeling we're going to be sitting here live tweeting, jumping on live, updating Excel sheets, putting them out there like, oh, like they signed this person. They signed this person. This person might be going here, but just got a bigger deal over here. And like, I think it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
And like, what's the day that starts?
I don't know. I still think that they should do an auction draft for this, for the very first time, right? For the very first season.
To me, that would make more sense.
You do an auction draft.
Yeah.
That way you can actually see who's bidding what on what player, and you can have that drama of we're in Texas. We probably got some guy in a big cowboy hat that'll go, oh, Ben John's going, one's going.
Yeah.
Like, how much chaos would that be if you got an actual live auction?
It'd be controlled
draft?
Chaos. So we'd know, hey, it's all happening right during this time frame.
Right.
So, we don't have to pull the all-nighters again, trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
I think that they should do that. And then from then on, next year is the last draft ever. You can sign free agents. Maybe every year, people who weren't on a team, you can have like a draft the way that the NFL does it for people coming out of college. But next year should be the last time that the pros are redrafted. And I think that's the intent.
So here is maybe going back to like, is there going to be tension? Is there going to be animosity? How will that play out? If there is, like, one of the things to think about is like, who are some of these team owners? Well, like, Connor Pardo is the owner of the Utah Black Diamonds. He's going to have to go recruit players. Mm-hmm. Probably going to be certain players that don't want to sign with him out of principle who are pissed. I'm sure Leia Jansen has her qualms with certain owners. And I'm sure there's other scenarios like that where, she might be the perfect fit for that team. But she says, no, I don't want to go play for you because I remember what you did. I was loyal. I got screwed. Like, I could see that becoming interesting. And then to add to that, like, a Stack Athletics, for example, who has like Tyra as the face of their brand, Tyra and Tyler, like, you know, in those negotiations, you can say, hey, we're not only going to pay you like X salary, but hey, Tyra will give you a bump in your pay from Stack, right? And there's certain like leverage points there. So,
yeah, that part's interesting. The, I guess, ancillary benefits, because if it's in a salary cap type of situation,
you can weasel around it.
Yeah, I wonder how that works in other sports. But also, there's plenty of drama between players and owners in other sports. It just makes for great content. There's plenty of people who might not ever want to go play for the Astros because of their cheating scandal, or play for some owner, or got traded from some team without the owner talking to them on their birthday or something like that, right? Like, there's plenty of bad blood in other sports,
right? And
I think that, again, just makes things interesting and might make certain things different or more difficult for certain owners.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, like, I think Mark Cuban was a good example of the Dallas Mavericks. He was the first guy to make the visitors' locker room like amazing, right? Mm-hmm. He made the visitors' locker room amazing. And he's like, yeah, this is what we'll do for you here in Dallas.
Right.
And he gathered like trust of players that way for taking care of them. Mm-hmm. Right. You might have that. You might also have the flip side. So of not wanting to deal with certain people.
Right. Right. Yeah. Free agency, man. It's going to be,
I think they got to do an auction draft. I've been saying auction draft for sure.
I think that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Agents of change. Okay.
And you can have a salary cap, so it's not completely pay to win.
One of the other things is like, so, okay, if these teams are responsible for player salaries, but Major League Pickleball already said, hey, you're getting paid X for the next 3 years, to what degree does the team have a financial obligation, and how is that taken out of the total salary commitment from Major League Pickleball, and how do they decide how that works? Yeah, are these salaries on top of what Major League Pickleball, the central organization, has already committed?
Good question.
Right?
Don't know. It's probably.
I bet they don't even know.
Somewhere.
I bet none of the owners know. I bet they're all just like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
I think we've gone through it at some point. I don't remember I don't remember how it works off the top of my head from my contract.
Because then I keep going back to him for some reason, but because he's top of mind. But Kwang Dong, he's got the $500K over at PPA. But now he needs to be paid a Major League Pickleball salary.
I would guess that the PPA salary.
Well, assuming he got drafted, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't know. More good questions.
Right.
More good questions.
Like, if you're an owner or GM, you got to study up and you got to know all these different things. I mean, there's a lot of nuance here.
When did they start hiring analytics departments? Who's going to be the money ball of this whole deal?
Well, like, couldn't you see a scenario where once everybody starts going and trying to sign free agents, where all of a sudden you realize, oh, in the midst of that, we technically went over the salary cap?
You can go over salary caps in other sports, but you just have to pay a certain amount back to the league, right? I think that's a thing.
That'd be a good way for Major League Pickleball to recoup some cash.
Possibly make the salary cap $1 and then they have to pay everything back.
Yeah.
I think you can go over. I think you can go over salary caps but there's some form of like tax or remittance back to the league.
Mm-hmm. What else? What? Listen, I've been leading the charge on this episode.
Yeah. No, I didn't even bring my computer, dude. I don't know. At this point, we're in a hurry up and wait until we have more details. I think I think a good course of action could be to keep doing some more of those, impromptu pods when some news drops. But now it's on to MLP Atlanta. Like, I would guess we're not going to get a tremendous amount of public information until after Atlanta. I would guess that the next thing is all like, look, let's get this event done. We could have somebody not showing up. We could have other issues. But I doubt we'll get anything from the leagues ahead of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong all the time, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think they're now just on execution of that event.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you tired of the endless search for the perfect court? Well, say goodbye to court hunting hassles with Swimply, your go-to solution for hassle-free court rentals. So whether you're planning a pickleball party or just want to enjoy a friendly match, Swimply has you covered. With Swimply, you can easily find and book private courts that suit your game and your schedule. By the way, it's basically like Airbnb for pickleball courts. It's actually pretty cool.
So you have basically like, if I had a private court in my backyard, I could more or less just kind of like rent it out, run it as a club.
Yep.
Interesting.
They do the same thing so they started as doing that with pools, and now they do it with pickleball courts.
Do you have to, get that? Do you have to rent out the house too, or is it just the court?
No, just the court.
No, okay, so it's not like an Airbnb, but it's only for your.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How many places are on Swimply yet?
Good question. Far? You could check swimply.com, or the best way is you just download the app, browse available courts in your area, and book the one that's perfect for you. Beautiful backyard pickleball courts are just a tap away. Just a tap, Zane.
Just a tap. Dang.
Don't let the court hunt hold you back. Dive into the world of Swimply today. Visit swimply.com and find them in the App Store. Escape locally with Swimply.
That's interesting. I think that's very, very valuable for somewhere here like Austin.
Yeah.
Right. If you've got a court in your backyard, you can probably make a decent chunk of money for renting that out. And if you can find one of those, it's great because you actually have a court. Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
We like that.
Mm-hmm.
we like that.
I'm going to Nashville this weekend playing in a Bounce tournament. Bounce is another app, but they're holding a bunch of tournaments. This one's with the Tennessee Titans, so the winner gets, I think, like signed jersey and helmet and stuff like that. So I'm going to need to find a court to practice when I get there. So I use Swimply. That's all I got, dude.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, that's all I had too. So
yeah. Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
A little preparation goes a long way, Thomas.
Dude, I think we prepped.
You prepped.
I prepped up a storm.
Yeah, you really did. I let you down this time or another, but man, I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Thank goodness for Maddie Pickles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say you prepped. Maddie Pickles prepped, huh?
You prepped us some questions.
Maddie Pickles, the real MVP. Maddie is our Jamie.
Yeah, but we got to get him in here. It would be nice to get him like in this chair right here. Maddie, are you open to it?
Maddie.
In this chair, reading through and asking us the stuff so I don't have to think about what the next question is all the time.
Maddie, what are you up to Tuesdays at 1:00?
He's going to be sitting in that chair.
All right, we'll have to talk to Maddie. Actually, don't text him. Just let him see this. Yeah. This is his job interview.
Yeah, right. If he doesn't listen to the end of the episode, he misses out on the job.
Exactly.
Right.
It doesn't pay anything.
So you got to be committed. Got to be committed to the pod.
Absolutely.
All right. Tell the people what podcast this is.
Pickle Pod.
Done.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun.